Now I will remind you briefly about the first season. The hero's name is Bai Wu, and he woke up in an unknown and incredibly dangerous place, but he was not alone with the system, which teased the guy in every possible way. It turned out that he was a slave who was sent to the games for fun aristocrats. To their great surprise, incredibly smart guy realized what was going on and sent them all away. In this horrible world, there were scary monsters that reacted to negative emotions. But here's the problem. The guy doesn't feel emotions at all, and in this strange world, he is actually invulnerable. In his past life, Bai Wu was a genius detective who could solve complex crimes like a seed, and everyone was shocked by his talent. But the thing that made Bai feel no emotions at all. Going back to the time when he was a slave, a man was sent to kill Bai Wu. But thanks to his intelligence, the man was able to use the monster to defeat a seemingly invincible opponent. He found the Stone of Return in the corpse, and with it, he found himself in the interrogation chamber of the Foreign Intelligence Service. The people there wanted to recruit such a talent, and the guy finally made up his mind to join the intelligence headquarters. The new allies expected Bai to be a coward before the first expedition, but the hero surprised everyone with his desire to join the expedition as soon as possible. Many strange things happened during the expedition. But thanks to Bai's ingenuity, the team managed to survive in this terrible place. Now the hero was faced with the question of how to get more money and get to the aristocrats who had sent him to the deadly game earlier. The way was found, namely the live broadcast of the expedition, the guy decided, and with the help of a girl, he was able to do the intended. But here's the problem. The broadcast was without sound, which made the people angry and a bit scattered. The situation was saved by a strange guy who had a talent to speak in different voices, thanks to which they were able to fake the audio track and save the broadcast. Good to see you again. This is the second season. The second part of this very interesting manhwa will be released when this video gets 500 likes, so it's up to you. I want to wish you a pleasant viewing experience because I really worked hard on this video. Inside the cave, the team explored the surroundings, and the system indicated that this place was a stomach. Bai's friend complained that the book didn't make sense, and they went from one dead end to another. The system knew that the contents were the Dundler Bible, and that the hero would need the next level to understand the contents. Bai was offered to read the strange book, but he refused, explaining that they needed to gather more information about the cave. Bai asked the man to hurry because it was about to rain, while the girl was worried about Constantine, who was distracting the boss. Bai promised that the man would be fine and ordered him to hurry up because they had to hide before it rained. Bai decided to think. He thought that he had been in two areas before, the ruins of a city and an abandoned hospital, which were similar to the real world. While this world was more like a chessboard, he thought that this place was one big stomach and tried to guess the role of the monster in this place. At that time, Constantine had finished fighting the monster and started to run away at the last moment when it started to rain. The monster was pinned to the ground. The acid rain tore its body apart. The enemy started screaming in pain and rage, and it was heard by the guys in the cave. Bai assumed that Constantine was fine since the monster was hit by the rain. Bai thought that it couldn't be that simple, as the loophole left by the hunter had been left on purpose, so the truth had yet to be discovered. At that time, at the headquarters of the 7th Intelligence Corps, the captain's phone rang, informing him that the case he had requested had been solved. The girl said that Bai would probably become famous, but she couldn't have bodyguards outside the tower. The captain asked if the girl had anything else to say. The girl started to talk about how she had to get her best successor to help Bai with the stream. She asked how the captain would compensate her if something happened. She was amazed that the guy would do so much for Bai, knowing him so little. She even suggested that the captain really liked boys. The captain ignored such a statement and said he would tell his man to contact Yawaimin. The girl heard the word "my husband" and asked the captain who she was. The captain said that the girl was just a tool and hung up without letting her answer. At that time, the guys in the cave stopped abruptly. They saw a tree house in front of them. Bai went inside and ordered the bald man to keep an eye on the situation. Bai was pleased with the way things were going, for he was eager to separate the boys. The system told him that there was something in this place that would help him pass the first level. It explained that this time, the hero could pick up all 3 items, but 2 of them would lead him in the wrong direction. One of the items was a teleportation disc, which the girl was incredibly excited about, while Bai realized that using the wrong item would most likely result in death. Bai wondered why there were so many people in this place. The hero was faced with a difficult choice: to act passively, so that his comrades would die when the game needed them, or to act actively, sacrificing people himself to achieve the desired scenario. The guy seemed very interested. He asked the girl if she wanted to leave this cursed place. The answer was logically that she did. Bai asked if the girl would leave if all the others died. She asked if Bai would be able to save them all. He decided to be blunt. If he could only save one, it should be the girl. The girl became visibly nervous, so Bai grabbed her shoulder and asked her to answer a question. He asked which item was the most important: a teleportation disc, a negative emotion suppressant, or a haunt to protect against acid rain? The girl ranted that all the items were important, and the zones could be used to try to lure the monster into the rain. She said that a disc wasn't that important, because then only one person could leave. Bai thought so, and now of all the important clues, only the notepad was left. Bai easily realized that this was a logical problem. The disc could not be a continuation of the scenario, and he thought that the probe was the item they needed. The only condition for victory was that the rain could really kill the fallen. Bai thought about the fact that the monster was too strong for his class. It seemed like the teacher had something to do with it all. Bai asked the girl how her room was. She didn't understand at first, but when the guy asked her to pay attention to how clean the room was, the girl started to guess. Bai started to explain that the condition of the room made it seem as if the monster had never been here. He thought about whether that meant that it couldn't get in or didn't know about this place. He started to think about the fact that the monster couldn't see the safest place and that it loved to enjoy the desperation of its victims. The girl started to understand, and Bai answered that the rain couldn't kill the monster. At that time, all the events were broadcast on the screen, with the voice of a guy who acted so realistically that no one even suspected that it was a voiceover. He did not say the things that were in reality, but on the contrary, it interested the audience even more and drew more and more of their attention. The girl was just thrilled with how talented the guy was playing this role. She asked the man about the statistics, and he explained that the interest had stabilized and was actively growing. The guy announcer continued his hard work, while the girl rejoiced, because at this rate, her ether will definitely get to the top. Although the events in real life were not so colorful, thanks to the charisma of the announcer, who embellished as he could. At that time, Bai wondered if Yang Zhen had received the confusion debuff. He couldn't understand why the man would lie about the mood change. Bai thought about the disintegration debuff, which was actually to subjugate a person to the will of the fallen. The guy made a decision, namely to take the drug. He threw the umbrella and the disc to the girl. Bai was determined to mislead the monster by using the 2 items. The protagonist was left with the last and most important question. If the rain is not able to kill this monster, then what is? The girl was worried that they wouldn't take the medicine, but Bai explained that they would use it right away. At that time, it started to rain. The bald man hid under the house and started cursing a lot. He realized that the monster couldn't be killed, and thought about the fact that the disc wouldn't go to him. The man grabbed his head and began to have intrusive thoughts that turned him against Bai. The hero's assumption that the man had received the corruption debuff was correct, and he lost control. Bai arrived in time and used his syringe. After administering the drug, he ordered the man to stop making up nonsense. Bai was glad that they had managed to get rid of the debuff, but now they had to move on. The man thought about this drug, because if they could produce it en masse, scouting parties could go to the Violet Zone. The girl asked if the man was better, and the bald man said he was wondering if the boys had taken the drug from upstairs. The girl said that Bai had figured out how to use the drug at a glance. The man was afraid of the protagonist's knowledge, and he began to think that even though they had lost 2 comrades, one Bai was much better than the 2 together. At that time, the hero himself thought that they were missing just one puzzle that would finally solve the problem of this place. Bai thought that the area was like a chessboard, with a strong monster on one side and weak allies on the other. He thought that there might be hidden memories in the writing. Bai realized that even though he had a rough idea of where things were, he was still missing a key that would allow them to deal with the monster. The system told the hero that there was indeed a skeleton in the place he was thinking about. The system told the hero that the enemy was incredibly angry that the boys were not desperate enough to make their meat tasty. Bai realized that if they didn't find a way to kill the monster in 10 minutes, they might all be finished. The system told of a path that could only be traveled by killing the monster, and it also told of a secret cave where there was a way to destroy the monster. Bai ordered his companions to leave as the rain had stopped. When asked where they were going, Bai told them to just follow him. At that time, the hero thought that the monster had a very bad past, as he wanted to heal to save more people. At that time, the man with the spear was hiding behind a tree. He was very worried that the acid rain did not kill the monster. It was not the first time he tried, but it was all in vain. The monster began to speak, saying only that the rain would kill the man, not him. The man was shocked by this outcome, and the monster said that the taste of the prey its master was waiting for had changed. The man was shocked that the speculation that the monster was deliberately toying with the prey was true. The monster said that this place was a chessboard, and he was just a pawn of his master. And looking at the man with an eerie look, the monster asked, "Who is he?" The man immediately realized the situation and began to run away, while the monster did not run after him, but just began to laugh. The man ran with all his might, while the monster said that wherever the guys do not run, they will not be killed by him. In the middle of the jungle, there was a strange building. Bai took his team there. Inside this building, they felt some kind of entity. They thought about what it could be. One of the assumptions was that it was a trap. Bai himself had a terrible premonition. He thought about how to influence the outcome. The hero also felt that the monster was the ultimate evil, and he soaked up hatred for humanity. One thing the system couldn't understand was why these scum were so weak. Bai decided to go to the creepy room. As he thought that all the secrets were hidden there, he ordered his companions to stay put. Bai began to enter the dark room. Already inside there were candles that lit the way. Bai learned from the system that there was a man hidden inside the box. From this box came a voice asking if it was a monster. Bai assumed that the person in the box was the teacher. Now Bai was sure that somewhere in this room was the monster's weak spot. Bai started to read the book left on the box. It told that the monster was only half a year older than Ilya. Also, the book told about the masterpiece that amazed the teacher. Bai reading these notes assumed that the teacher lived in the violet zone, and maybe even in the red zone. The book told that the monster was separated from the child, and at the end there was a riddle. Namely, what kind of person is able to live 2 lives? The answer was in the document. The teacher himself said that with this information, Bai Wu would be able to get close to him. This time, when the hero opened the book, a report began before the memories were opened, and as soon as the counter reached 1, the memories began to play. On February 19th, 2017, the enemy spoke to a child and said that one would sacrifice one's life to save others. The boy thought that despite the pain, people would be grateful to him. After a while, he met a nurse who was good as a doctor. They did not hate the boy, and it pleased him. The girl told the boy that he could ask the doctor anything he wanted, but the boy could not understand one thing, namely, why the girl was a little sad. At the boy's request, the doctor was incredibly surprised, but as the nurse explained to him, the boy said nothing. The doctor cured a large number of people, which pleased the boy. He could not understand why the nurse was still sad. The boy had been on the operating table for many days, and the doctor's face was not good because the alchik was growing too slowly. The boy began to be accused of heisism because he wasn't growing, but he was really trying because he wanted to save as many people as possible. All the boy could think about was how to heal faster. The boy was a little hungry and said that he was weak and didn't want to undergo an operation, and the enemy looked at him with a stern look and told the boy that they had to save more people as soon as possible, otherwise they might die. The boy did not want people to die. Time passed, and the boy was given a rest. He missed the nurse very much. His teeth, eyes, and tongue were taken away, so he needed time to recover. After a while, the doctor reminded the boy that he had to sacrifice himself to save others. Despite the pain, the boy felt it was the right thing to do, and he had to do it. The doctor's face changed, and the boy realized he had said something wrong. The enemy was angry and left, and the boy could not ask for anything. The boy was in deep despair, because he could not be better and save more lives. After a while, the doctor was in a good mood and praised the boy for saving many people. Although the doctor was incredibly happy, the nurse seemed very upset. The nurse approached the capsule where the boy was and said that she wanted to celebrate the new year with him and eat something delicious. She was upset that the man who had saved so many lives was locked in a tank, and the boy wondered if the people who had saved him remembered him, and he was incredibly happy that he was remembered and loved. The nurse said goodbye to the boy, and the boy could not understand why he would return from the surgery. Now the doctor did not answer the boy's questions and began to cut his forehead. Now the doctor was not cutting out organs, but cutting out the boy's brain. After a while, the boy woke up in a tank, and the doctor continued his standard brain suturing, while the boy noticed that the nurse was just crying outside the office window. After a while, the boy returned to school. The teacher was happy, but the boy did not like her looks. The boy did not understand why they looked at him with sympathy. He was cured after all. After the exam, the teacher was very happy and asked the boy if he wanted to participate in the Olympics. He was not against it, because all his life he did everything for people. After a long time, the boy sat in school and thought that he was still as bored as ever. He had a dream in which he returned to the hospital, where he was lying on the operating table, and next to him was a man who looked unbelievably like him, and it seemed to the boy that the man was calling him. After a while, the dream began to repeat itself more and more often, and the boy woke up in terror, as if the dream was forcing him to search for something. At school, on the roof of the boy, confessed his love to a girl. She was always running after the guy tail, and he treated her politely. Although she was really disgusted with the guy, he did not understand why he liked her. They are almost not communicate. The guy was happy because the girl didn't even realize that she was just food for him. Several of his organs failed, and he had to have an operation, and he was afraid that he would not be himself after the operation. He kept dreaming about him, only a little different. He thought they were one, and the boy wondered if the boy really existed. He asked his mother about it, and she explained that the boy's organs were from different people, and he shouldn't think about it. The guy was disgusted by the presence of this girl. When he saw a stray cat, the girl said it was disgusting. At that time, he posted a lot of pictures with animals in his feed. She assumed she was the guy's girlfriend, but he just thought about it. What's it like to eat people? The man from the boy's dreams started to look clearer. He was crying because no one loves him, and all the words said to him were a lie. The boy was always the best, so he had a lot of attention. Others wanted to get close to him, and he hated those people. They met in dreams, the other boy cried and complained, and sometime later, the girl dragged the boy to the infirmary to kiss him. There he accidentally bit her lip and began to drink her blood. The boy enjoyed it until the girl jumped. She looked at the boy in horror, and the boy did not understand what this look meant because she said she loved him. The boy's father paid the money and scolded the boy for what he had done, and the boy was very sorry that he had eaten so little. He was glad that he no longer had to look at the girl's face, and gradually, the boy began to feel that something was awakening in him, and it seemed that he could find the meaning of life. The psychologist was a very interesting man. His name was Cain. He started to call the boy the name of the monster Dundler, and told him what a naughty child he was. The boy thought that the names given by the man were very strange, but it all began to seem very interesting to him. For his birthday, the boy got a car, but he was bored with it. In his dream, he became friends with the white-haired boy again, but he realized that he would soon be forgotten again. After lunch, the psychologist suddenly appeared near the boy's house. He said he wanted to talk to him, and it turned out that the man knew about the boy's birthday and decided to make him a present. He took the boy to the parking lot where he opened the trunk of the car, in which there was a bag from which came a woman's crying. The man asked the boy if he liked his present, but he didn't. The boy was just thrilled. Within a year, Cain became the boy's mentor. He told the man about the dream, and the man in turn shared the information that it was real. He told that there were 2 boys, and the other one was now suffering terribly. The purpose of the boy's existence was to repay that debt. After a while, more and more people began to mutate. They found strange creatures called the Fallen. Although the boy was a little afraid, but Cain gave him courage. He realized that he was a natural predator, and humans along with the Fallen were his prey. The boy wanted to save the other, but Cain explained that he was too kind to the world now, so they should wait. At that time, the number of the fallen continued to grow, but they had not yet reached the point where they were a threat to humanity. The teacher took the boy to see the fallen and hunt the humans. The boy didn't know which side Cain was on, but the boy continued to go with the man, believing in his teacher. After a while, the changes in the boy's body could not be hidden. Because of the changes, the boy already doubted if he was a human being. At that time, the teacher asked the boy if he should strive to be human. Everyone around the boy finally showed their true selves. They were afraid of him, which only brought him misfortune. The boy realized that he already belonged to the monsters, but in his opinion, the faces of these people were much more disgusting. After a while, a masked type appeared in the city, which made the boy angry. When the boy was about to be put in a mental hospital, Cain saved him and told him to wait for the masked man to die and go and save the other boy. The mutation rate started to rise. People tried to run away from everything. At that time, the masked man disappeared, and the boy was just glad that only strong monsters were left. People were always fighting among themselves for supplies. There were even organizations that created safe houses, and Cain said that this world would last 3-4 years, and after that it would be hard to find people outside the tower. He explained to the boy that if he wanted to live outside, he would have to become a fallen man. He and his teacher moved to the central hospital of the city. He had wanted to see his other self for so long, and finally, it could happen. At that time, another boy got out of the tank. He started walking towards the open door. No one knew or liked him. He thought he was saving people's lives. But no one cared about him. The boy screamed and called for a nurse, but it turned out there was never a nurse. Finally, the diary memories ended, the system assuming that Bai had already figured out what was going on. Bai began to realize that the fall of mankind began with environmental changes. The monster had a human talent, namely infinite nirvana. The boy was only seen as an object to earn money, so he was dismembered many times and his memory was erased. But there was a change when another child saved the future monster with his organs. A good man lived in a horrible world where no one loved him and no one cared. Even when everyone rejected the boy, he did not feel hatred, he just continued to be a man. The hero thought that evil lived in an environment that almost everyone knows. Perhaps the boy would not have reached such a place without the influence of Cain. It seemed that Bai Wu had an epiphany and he realized the last mystery. Suddenly a message appeared saying that someone would reveal another secret to Bai Wu. It turned out that the other people had been sent to the plot for a reason. Bai Wu was shocked by this information. He got the idea that Cain had not fallen and was still living in the tower. The hero assumed that the enemy was trying to force him to make the wrong decisions to catch him. He assumed that the main weapon was not the monster, but him. Cain asked if the hero was ready to accept his mission, and Bai agreed without a doubt. He realized that Cain was wrong about one thing, namely that Bai's morals never mattered. The mysterious voice began to tell him that talent and mutation are similar abilities, but talent is stronger, but the number of people who can awaken the rare talent is very small. The people in the tower think that the higher the number of talents, the rarer they are. But in fact, there are special cases. Sometimes talents can unite, and even talents with high numbers can become powerful weapons. Bai wondered if this was similar to the combination technique. The voice told him that a 777th ranked Sorrow and Joy Drive talent could be combined with a 666th ranked talent to obtain the Possession of Destiny talent, in which case, one would gain an advantage by sacrificing the other. The system complained that people were already unlucky enough to have their talents taken away, and Bai suggested that the others probably knew about it. The voice started talking about how he had lured the guys into a trap by promising them an artifact and the ability to combine powers, but the owner of the 66th talent had been eaten by monsters in the beginning. It turned out that the guys used the combination of their talents to make holes and stole luck. Thanks to the luck of his companions, the man earned a good reputation. Bai remembered that even at their first meeting felt confident, and a reputation of a leader. Cain explained that luck is not omnipotent, because they are in the stomach of Dundler, and here, no luck will not help people. Cain estimated that the leader and his team had killed about 200 people. The mining team thought they were experienced enough to survive in dangerous situations. They thought they were the best, and Cain said that unfortunately for him, there were no ghosts in this world, and only the fallen existed. It turned out that all the people who died outside the tower turned into the fallen, but they couldn't go back into the tower. These people couldn't hurt anyone, and it didn't affect the leader's life. Other members of the team weren't clean either. They might not have known about these secrets, but they participated in the tasks. Cain said, whether the one who participated in the murder of a man was guilty or not. The last task was a choice. Soon the stomach juices would rise from the ground, and everyone inside would begin to digest in despair. To the west was a boat that would not be eaten by the gastric juices, but to get to it, Bai Wu had to jump through the trees, otherwise the rain would simply melt him. In the tray could fit a maximum of 4 people. Cain said that the hero can go alone. Then the monster will continue his life, or save his comrades. But this is of course if Bai is not insane. Cain only said that he was looking forward to the hero's decision. Bai immediately began to ponder. In the way Cain spoke, he was similar to the teacher, but the guy was worried about how a man could live more than 700 years. Bai had an epiphany. He remembered talent number 42, which gave its owner near immortality. Bai assumed that Cain and the short man were the strongest beings he knew. The system reminded him that time was running out, and they should hurry. Bai assumed that this was all prepared on purpose. Bai realized that the teleportation disc could teleport him to the place he was before. Bai thought that the first place was the healing center. He assumed that all this information was addressed to someone on purpose. He assumed that Cain didn't know exactly who Bai was, but here was the little man, a completely different matter. Now it occurred to Bai that Cain wanted to eliminate the dwarf because he was the strongest on the lower floors and would have trouble destroying the tower. Bai understood one simple thing. Cain was not hostile to him, and the task prepared for Bai was to find out which type he belonged to. The hero could either save no one or 1, 2, 3. Bai could already imagine Cain with a victorious face saying how obvious Bai's choice was. The system screamed because it had to visualize it too. Bai realized that even though the commander had to die, if he died as a hero now, people would remember him as a skilled miner, and the rest of us would never be able to rest. Only the law would be right to punish this man. Bai realized that all 3 of them had to survive because it would give him a clue about Cain. But if you took the 3, you couldn't take the man out of the box. The man began to shake the box, wondering if the person inside knew who Cain was and what his abilities were. Inside appeared a boy who was the second self of the monster. The boy asked who the hero was and where Dundler was. Bai decided to take a more interesting approach and make an unlikely choice. The system told him that this man was unhappy, so the monster kept killing for him. Although they're the closest to each other, they're actually strangers. The boy saved the monster, and under Cain's guidance, he did a lot of terrible things. He killed people to make the boy happy. Bai finally realized what his choice should be. Bai said that he would call the boy Prometheus, and that Prometheus was a smart boy and never really lost his memory. Bai assumed that the boy thought something would change if he started over. Such words startled Prometheus, and he remembered the time when Cain had come to him and brainwashed him. Bai told him that the doctors had shunned the child and dug into his brain, hoping that he would forget everything. But in fact, the boy had forgotten nothing. Bai felt sorry for the boy. There was a nurse in the boy's memories, but she never existed. She was just another personality of the child. The hero realized that the boy couldn't have lost his memory because the nurse told him to remember. She remembered everything as well as the boy. But the boy still didn't get angry. Bai felt sorry for the boy and talked about the sad moments in his life. This is the first episode of the second season is over. I remind you that the next video will be released at 500 likes. From me, I want to say. Thank you all for watching this video. I'm glad there are people who watched my video to the end. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will keep trying to make good videos. Good luck and all the best. See you next time.